Well, welcome to New Mexico Rising. My name is Mandy. This week, we've got this.
What I have seen is the incredible joy, the incredible love, the incredible life, the incredible faith through those small moments.
39% overall of everybody that we looked at said that they feel pressure to post vacation content while traveling.
All that and more right here on New Mexico Rising. Travel is more than just going on vacation. It brings billions into our economy. It supports jobs in every community, and it even helps other industries like healthcare and education. Big events are coming, like the 2026 FIFA World Cup, the Ryder Cup, and the 2028 Olympics. These will put U.S. on the world stage and bring huge opportunities to our country. Joining us today is Geoff Freeman, President and CEO of U.S. Travel Association. He's here to share why travel matters so much and how we can be ready for this important time. Welcome, Geoff.
Great to be with you.
Why is travel so important for people here at home, not just for the economy?
Yeah, you said it. I think we know mostly the economic benefits, $3 trillion in economic impact just last year. But I think what makes travel unique is how it's the fuel for everything else that happens. Travel's about building family connections. It's about building businesses. It's about strengthening communities. Travel's that thing that happens underneath the radar screen that makes all those other things possible. And because it's happening kind of underneath, I think we forget sometimes what we need to do to make sure that the travel industry can thrive, to make sure that it can service all of these other industries. I think we've been too hands off in some of these areas. I think we need to improve the travel process. I think travelers need to be more demanding of government. I think we need to have a world-class travel process that makes all of us proud.
How does travel connect other industries that people might not expect?
Yeah, I think when you look at, when you look at healthcare, when you look at technology, when you look at manufacturing, what brings people together to do deals, what enables learning to happen from one another, what enables information sharing is meetings, conventions, conferences, all things that happen because of travel. Travel is the fuel that makes it happen. The more difficult we make travel, the less likely those things are to happen. The more we streamline the travel process, the more likely people are to be out on the road, in the air, getting deals done, driving this economy. Where we run into frictions, whether that's road, rail, or in the air, people stay home, they use Teams, they use Zoom, and the economic benefits are lost.
With the World Cup, Ryder Cup, and Olympics coming soon, what kind of impact will those events have for the U.S.?
Yeah, the U.S. is so well positioned now over the next decade. America's 250th birthday, the World Cup, the Summer Olympics, the Winter Olympics, the Rugby World Cup. We've got event after event after event that could attract upwards of 40 million travelers to the United States. But that just won't happen by accident. You've got to make sure you're competitive. You got to make sure you're prepared to welcome these travelers. You got to make sure people know that the U.S. is open for business, something we've got an issue with right now where travelers are questioning, does the U.S. want me to come? How do we improve the customs process so that travelers can get out of our airports quickly, not wait in 2-3 hour or more long lines? And how do we deal with those travelers who need visas so they're not paying exorbitant fees to the U.S. government or waiting in multi-month long lines just to get an interview for that visa? We've got work to do in each one of those areas. When we do it, these travelers from overseas spend 8 times more than Americans. They're bringing that money into U.S. communities. It's going to restaurants, to retailers, to drugstores, and others. The ability to strengthen the American economy with these travelers who then go home and tell their friends and family to do the same thing is off the charts.
You said America is falling behind on an international level. What needs to change, and how does that affect local businesses?
Yeah, I think there are a variety of reasons that people are turning away from the United States right now. One, there's a perception forming they're not as welcome as they once were. I don't think that's reality, but it's a perception, and it's a perception we've got to address. We've got to let people know at the highest levels of our government, we've got to make a message very clear to people around the world. We want your business. We want you to come to the United States. The U.S. is open for business for legal travelers. We want you to come here, spend your money, and go home and tell your friends and family what a great time you had. Two, we've got to improve the customs process so people aren't waiting 2 or 3 hours or more getting through America's airports when they land. Finally, for those that need a visa, we've got to get rid of delays, and we've got to get rid of this new fee that Congress just created that punishes foreign travelers who want to come to the United States. Congress wants them paying money to the U.S. government rather than spending that money with U.S. businesses. When international travelers come, when regular travelers come, they're going to restaurants, they're going to retailers, they're going to attractions. That's where we should be spending our money, not giving it to the federal government.
What is being done to make travel smoother and easier for both U.S. travelers and visitors from other countries?
Yeah, just to put that in context, in 2019, we welcomed 78 million international visitors. The end of last year, we were down to 72 million international visitors. This year, we're going to be down even further. So we're going backwards at a time when every other country in the world is adding international travelers. We've got to have some tough conversations. Why is this? And what are we going to do to make the U.S. more competitive? These are travelers that come here, they stay longer, they spend more, and they go home and tell their friends and family to do the same thing. We've got to get this addressed. I mentioned earlier, one of the things that concerns me is we've got the government putting in place new exorbitant fees on visas, for example. I don't know about you, but I'd rather have travelers spending their money with U.S. businesses, not with the U.S. government. So that's the type of thing that we've got to get addressed.
For people who want to learn more about this, where can they find more information?
We think travel is essential from an economic standpoint, from a social standpoint, from a cultural standpoint. To learn more about it, visit showcaseamericantravel.org.
Thank you for joining us, Geoff.
Thank you.
Parents ask all the time, how do we keep our kids safe around firearms, ours and other people's? The data is sobering, but there are simple steps that help. Dr. Lois K. is a pediatric emergency physician and chair of the AAP Council on Injury, Violence, and Poison Prevention. Dr. Lee, thanks for being here.
Thank you for highlighting this issue today.
Firearms are the leading cause of death for kids and teens in the U.S. What should New Mexico families know about that?
So families should know that there's actually very good research that has shown that families can do things, practical tips at home to keep their children safe when there are firearms in the home. And that includes securing them in a way that curious young children or impulsive teenagers don't have unauthorized access to firearms in the home.
What are the top practical safety steps, especially safe storage? And how can we ask other households about it without feeling awkward?
So in your own home, one way is to make sure you store your firearm unloaded with the firearm and the ammunition locked away separately in a way that your children can't access it. That includes possibly using a gun lockbox, or if you have more than one firearm, using a firearm safe. In addition to your home, as you mentioned, it's important to ask about the homes where your children might play and visit, including relatives and friends. It's a new school year with new friends and new play dates, so it is important to include firearm safety when you're talking about other health and safety with families. Talk about food allergies, wearing bicycle helmets, but also asking about how any firearms in the home are secured.
That's really good advice. It's something we don't always think about when we're going over things like that. So that's great. And for parents and grandparents and caregivers, what's the short checklist you recommend today?
So just make sure that you talk to your children if they're old enough and it's developmentally appropriate that firearms are not toys and they should only use them when there's an adult to supervise them, and to store any firearms in the home safely. And then make sure you talk to others, and also think about the cars. People also have firearms in their cars, so make sure that those are locked up so children can't access them in your car or maybe in your handbag or purse or briefcase as well.
Why is more research important, and how does it guide real solutions for communities like ours?
We know through research that we have decreased car crashes as a leading cause of death for children and teens in the United States. With the use of things like seat belts and booster seats, we've dramatically improved child passenger safety on the road. We need a similar approach to determine what are effective solutions to address this important issue of firearm injuries and deaths among our children and teens.
Where can families go for simple, trustworthy advice right now?
So if you want to learn more health and safety tips around firearms, but also other health and safety tips for your kids, please visit healthychildren.org.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for your time.
More than 40% of adults in the U.S. are living with obesity, but too often, affordable and personalized care feels out of reach. A new study from Hims and Hers is shining a light on how digital platforms may be making a real difference. With us today is Dr. Craig Premack, Senior Vice President of Weight Loss at Hims and Hers, and Sherry Anderson, who's here to share with us her personal story. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Dr. Premack, can you break down the key findings from this new study?
Absolutely. So Hims and Hers is excited to present what we call a white paper, which is a study for the first time on compounded and personalized treatment plans for our patients. So it's a study done for 6 months, and our first finding is about weight loss. And what we saw is the average person lost about 20.9 pounds, which ended up being about 10.3% of their overall weight. The second thing is that we know these GLP-1 drugs have a lot of side effects. And so the side effects were minimized. We saw just a little under 11% of people having any side effect. And we asked them an interesting question, is do you have what we call intolerable side effects? And only 4.5% of people had intolerable side effects. And the last thing is, if you look at a different study that was released earlier by somebody else, they looked at branded weight loss drugs. And at 6 months, 80% of people stopped taking them for multiple reasons. On our platform, in the personalized treatment plan, only 25% of people stopped their treatment. So really exciting results.
And Sherry, tell us about your journey. What led you to start and how has it changed your life?
Well, I took a huge vacation with my sisters and I couldn't enjoy it because I was having trouble walking, I was having trouble breathing, and it was all due to my weight gain. So I came back when we got home and started doing some research, and that's what led me to hers. And I've never looked back. I have gotten such great service from my care plan, from the platform. I had some issues at the beginning where I did have some nausea and was able to contact my care team and have my medication adjusted down a little. So I wasn't taking, my doses were smaller. So it really isn't a one size fits all, and hers doesn't treat it that way. I think that's one of the reasons I've been so successful, and also the community that's involved on the platform. You feel like your team is part of your family or your friends. There are a lot of things that matter as much as the number you're seeing on the scale. One of them is my self-confidence has come back. I'm able to travel and not use an extender on the airplane. Those things are huge for me, and it just makes me feel better that I'm doing what's best for me in the long term.
That's so exciting, and I'm so happy for you. Dr. Premack, with so many people curious about GLP-1 medications, what should they keep in mind?
What you want to think about is what we call a comprehensive approach. Really, right now, that's 4 pieces. Number 1 is, of course, the medications. Number 2 is some kind of dietary advice and change. Easily said, let's emphasize protein, and there's a whole bunch of other things that make it work for you. The third part is movement and activity, finding something that works for you. And the fourth is what I'll call all this educational content, which is in our app, which tells you certain things like how to read a food label, how to eat in a social situation, and all these trackers like how much protein am I having in a day, how much sleep am I getting, things like that. And then also being able to contact your care team really 24/7, 365. If you do have any questions or problems, there's someone there to answer your questions no matter when it is.
And so what are the benefits of that digital care platform compared to seeing a doctor face-to-face?
It's an important question. Right now in the US, if you're going to see a weight loss specialist, your first visit usually takes about 5 months on average to get. On our platform, once you submit your intake paperwork, the average is about 3 hours, which is great. You're able to have medical care when you want it. So you can fill this out anytime, 24/7, really, again, 365 from your home, where you want it. So you can do it from the comfort of your couch or your office area at home, on your computer or your phone. And then the last is personalized for you. And so we ask a whole bunch of questions like, what's your past medical history? Are you on any medicines? And together with your medical provider, you'll find a treatment plan really that works for you.
That sounds far more in depth and a lot quicker. Sherry, what advice would you give to others in New Mexico who are considering starting a plan like this?
I would tell people to just take the leap of faith and start the program. I actually personally have a family member that lives in Albuquerque that is on this plan because of the success she's seen that I've had. So just start it. It's going to work. It is a lifestyle that you'll love because you'll get your life back.
I love that. Where can viewers go for more information?
For more information, visit forhers.com, FORHERS.com, or HIMS.com, HIMS.com.
Thank you two so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
From pop hits to powerful faith-filled anthems, Stars Go Dim has built a global following. Now, frontman Chris Cleveland is back with a brand new album called Roses, a project years in the making that blends retro grooves with heartfelt lyrics. He also just celebrated a milestone moment with his debut at the Grand Ole Opry. Chris joins us now to talk about it all. Welcome to the show, Chris. How are you, my friend?
Doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Roses, it was just released. What was the inspiration behind this album, and how does it reflect where you are right now in life?
Oh, so much. I think anytime with music, the best way to make it is to make music that means something to you in the moment and just to be as honest as possible. And so this record is the first record I produced 100% myself. And so it's the most authentic me record. It's really vintage. It's really soulful. It's vibey. And then just the content of the album is all about just taking a step back, like really slowing down and seeing like the greatest pieces of life are in these small moments that sometimes if we're too busy, we just fly past. And so hopefully as people hear this, they have a really good time as they listen to the record, but they can also slow down and enjoy those small pieces and moments of life.
And the album, it mixes faith and everyday life in a really unique way. Can you share how your songwriting process brought those themes together?
Absolutely. I think with this album, I wrote every single song from one question. It's a question I've asked myself a lot of times, especially if you're a person of faith, is like, in the very best and in the very worst of life, how does this thing work with God? Like, how does he meet us? Does it? And these songs are kind of answers to those questions. And as I went through, I think I realized more and more, especially with my co-writers, that I think God meets us the most in these seemingly small moments. And not saying that these big, huge miracles and things can't happen. It just hasn't been my experience in life. But what I have seen is the incredible joy, the incredible love, the incredible life, the incredible faith through those small moments. And so that's what a lot of these songs, every song, is all about.
And also congratulations on making your debut at the Grand Ole Opry. That's pretty massive. How was that night like for you?
Incredible. You know, I've been traveling and playing since I was 10 years old. I turned 40 this year, so 30 years. And so it felt like a really awesome celebration of a career. And I grew up in Oklahoma, and so my grandma was a songwriter. And so I've always been aware of the Opry and how much it meant. And so my family and I have lived in Nashville now for almost a decade. And so to be able to walk on that stage where so many people have been before, it was a really special moment.
And one of your standout tracks is your song, which you dedicated to fans. What is some of the what does that connection with your listeners mean to you?
Everything. I think I wrote this song specifically for people. Like, if you've ever needed just a song to make you feel better than you do right now, that's what your song is all about. From the lyric to the feel, as soon as it comes on, you just want to crank it up, throw the windows down, and just blast it. And hopefully when you do that, you're going to feel better once the song is over than when it started. And that's what your song is all about, just to make you feel great.
And you have a little connection to New Mexico. What do you got there?
Yeah, so if you guys go and check out all the videos and things and visuals for the new record Roses, all of those were shot in New Mexico. So I've got some friends in Albuquerque, and we drove up into the mountains and filmed some really, really beautiful videos. So if you see something that looks familiar, then you know that it was a little New Mexico happening out there. So it was really fun to do that.
Chris, thanks for joining me this morning. Check out Chris Cleveland's new album, Roses, From Stars Go Dim. It's out now everywhere music is sold and streamed. For more information on the music, videos, and tour dates, just go to his website, starsgodim.com. Thanks for joining me this morning, Chris.
You bet, man. Thank you.
It's one thing to imagine an alien invasion, but it's another to build a show that makes you feel like you're living through it. Invasion is back for season 3 on Apple TV+, and this time, the fight takes us straight into the hearts of the alien mothership. From X-Men to The Martian, Simon Kinberg knows how to tell a big cinematic story, and he's here to talk about raising the stakes, bringing characters together, and what we can expect for this next wave when it hits. Welcome to the show, Simon. How are you?
I'm really good, thanks. Happy to be here.
All right, so this season brings all of the perspectives from like the past seasons together for the first time. How did that shift change and the tone and the pace of the show?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I was most excited about, really from the beginning of conceiving the show, was that eventually all of these different strands of stories and characters would come together. And it took us, 2 full seasons, and now into our 3rd season, to finally bring these characters together, because they started in all these disparate places, from Asia to the US to Europe, to Northern Africa. And finally, all of our main characters are sort of smashed together on a mission that adds a different level of stakes and in some ways sort of action and velocity to the season 2. The show has been picking up pace as the seasons go on. The first season was kind of like Act 1 of a movie, and the second season was Act 2, where things start to pick up, and then this is really the sort of big clash of like an Act 3 of a film.
And Invasion always has these balanced global, has always these different personal stories from around the world. How do you make sure those human moments will shine in such a big sci-fi setting?
Well, for me, the opportunity and the challenge of the show is to keep it really intimate while also making it really, massive in scale and scope. And the movies that I watched growing up, whether it was E.T. or Star Wars, or Back to the Future or Terminator, they always did a really good job of balancing those two things, the epic and the intimate. And so I just look to those as sort of my North Stars when I'm trying to find the right balance for the show.
And you've got some familiar faces back and some new cast members. What can you tell us about the dynamics between the characters this season?
Well, this season is just completely different than the previous 2 seasons, because all these characters come together for the first time. And so they're having to learn to be a team. The main characters that people who've watched the first couple of seasons hopefully have come to love and have followed. This is the first time that they're really interacting and really forced to become like a little family to survive. And so the dynamic is completely different, because we have all of these people from different parts of the world coming together on a singular mission to try to save the world.
And for fans who've been with Invasion from the start, and maybe for those who are jumping in now, what's one of the things that you hope is a good takeaway from season 3?
I think the thing that's the biggest and coolest thing about season 3 is that we have all these characters coming together for the first time. That you see, if you've been watching, and even if you haven't, you see these characters from completely different worlds, some of whom don't even fully speak the same languages, certainly from completely different cultures and backgrounds. They're all smashed together on a mission that's critical to the survival of the human race, and so the stakes are super high for these characters, and it's a chance for them to get to know each other in the way that we as audience have come to know them.
Simon Kinberg, thanks for joining us this morning. Invasion Season 3 is streaming now on Apple TV+, with new episodes dropping every Friday through October 24th. Dive in, catch up, and see what happens when the fight to save humanity goes straight to the mothership. Hey, thanks for joining us, Simon.
Thank you for having me.
Travel isn't just about where you're going, it's also about how often we're packing our bags, how much we're spending, and why sometimes a vacation really is the best medicine. Talker Research just released their 2025 Travel Trends Report, and it's given us a peek in how Americans are traveling this year. So joining me are Van Darden, Director of Media Relations for Talker Research. Welcome to the show, Van. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's start with the big picture. What stood out to you most from this year's Travel Trends Report?
Yeah, well, this year's report gave us a really interesting snapshot of how Americans are traveling and how travel is tied to so much more than just vacation photos. We identified three major takeaways in this year's report. By the numbers first, the average traveler takes 2.5 trips per year and spends $3,500 annually on travel. And that's not including luxury or international trips. That's just domestic travel. Our second big finding, travel could equal better mental health. People reported feeling 67% better mentally after taking a trip. And 40% of people with excellent mental health say that travel is a huge part of their lives. That's compared to 12% of people with poor mental health who say that travel is a part of their lives.
You dug into generational differences. How does travel look different for, let's say, millennials and compared to boomers?
Yeah, that was one of the more interesting things that we found as well. So millennials, we found, were the most travel hungry generation. Millennials average 4.2 international trips in their lifetime, which may not sound like a lot over the span of someone's life, but 44% of baby boomers, on the other hand, say that they have never traveled abroad. So a big difference there in those generations. Another big generational divide showed up around social media and how people use it and react to it while traveling. 39% overall of everybody that we looked at said that they feel pressure to post vacation content while traveling. That number jumps higher the younger that you are. Gen Z and millennials, 55% and 51% respectively, feel this strong pressure to post while traveling. Boomers, just 15% say that they feel that same pressure to pull out their phones and post. Then, of course, there's the do it for the gram mindset. 1 in 3 people admit to doing things while traveling just to be able to post it on social media. Doing it for the gram is still very much alive.
There you go. And it sounds like pulling off a report like this takes a heck of a lot of work. What goes into gathering and analyzing all this data?
Yeah, well, like you said, pulling off a report like this is definitely a big lift. But it's also one of the most exciting things that we do at Talker Research. What makes our process really special is the scale and the flexibility of the data that we can tap into. We've talked already a lot about age differences, generational differences. We can also look at regional differences, even state-by-state breakdowns. And it's certainly looking at emerging trends over time. It's a big piece of this piece of research that we did here talking about today. What all of this is designed to do is help uncover unexpected insights and plan for the future. What we really do is help brands establish themselves through thought leadership, help companies make strategic decisions and spot emerging trends. Again, a couple of years ago, we weren't even talking about AI as it relates to travel planning, and yet it's a huge piece of so many people's travel plans and pre-planning to take a trip. I think one of the key takeaways is that large data reports like this are vital for staying relevant in a fast-changing world, and that is true for any company, any brand, any industry, in any sector. You got to stay on top of the trends, and we can help you do that.
If anyone wants to check out this full report or dive deeper into some of these findings, where should they go?
Yeah, talkerresearch.com/travel. There was so much more data we didn't have time to talk about today. So many trends that we didn't get a chance to speak on. Talkerresearch.com/travel. You can see the full report. Might get inspired.
Van, you are the man. Thanks for joining me this morning.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for tuning in. That was New Mexico Rising. You can go to our website, newmexicorising.com. And for behind the scenes and other fun stuff, please follow us on our socials and subscribe to YouTube at NM Rising. See you next week.